I heard that Damar Hamlin was still in critical condition. Did y'all hear that? That's what I heard. That's what I heard. So let me actually turn this off. Let me 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 turn this off. All right, man. Let me Yeah, man. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Matter of fact, let me see. All right. So this was posted. All right, hold up. Are they gonna show it? Cause sometimes they don't be showing it, and it's like I don't even know. I mean, I did well, I didn't see it live, but like I did, honestly go back and like I've been seeing it all over Twitter and shit. But like, hold on, let me actually see like the play. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see, man. And it's like, hold on, let me see. All right, let me it's like they don't want to show it, and I get it, I understand, but like just for the purpose of like this Twitch, this is literally just for the purpose of me checking it out, like just to see, what everybody else like. It's not even on that type of time. You know what I mean? Like it's not even on that type of time. So let me actually look at this joint, man. So this is for those that didn't see it, right? This is like strictly educational, right? Like I'm just trying to show y'all. I mean, at this point, if you haven't seen it, you've been living under a rock. But it literally just happened last night. So let's see what happened. There's only a minute, and then I'm gonna actually get into like what happened.
Five defensive backs than any team in football, 95% of the time. So you're essentially a weak side linebacker in the run game as well. Here's Higgins wide open to midfield and lowers.
Okay, so that's the hit. That's the hit that happened, right? That's the hit that happened. And T. Higgins is actually having a really good season. So like, it's kind of crazy that he'll kind of be linked to this forever, But yeah. So look at the hit again. Like you see how hard that collapse is, right? Like you do see that. That's a hard ass hit, man. And like you could hear it. Like you could hear it like from the microphones out there. Like you could hear how hard the hit was. Damn.
The shoulder for 13. This is where Joe Burrow is so good. And now another Bills player is down.
Now here's the thing, right? Now he popped right back up. And then literally right after that, he went down.
Tell exactly who that is. Maybe Hamlin. Jordan Poyer was able to go tonight. He was iffy. Their only Pro Bowler on this very good defense. Hamlin's taking the place for the injured Micah Hyde. And that is Damar Hamlin. A big piece of this defense for Sean McDermott. Back after this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was clearly more that happened after that, and that's what I want to kind of get into. So I just wanted to kind of show the hit first, and then, kind of get into, some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there's a Dr. Cardillo, that's a ER specialist, and they had him kind of talk about what was going on with him, right? Like why he did that. You know what I mean? Like what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as physically in here, because they said it's a it's a heart thing. So let's see what he actually has to say about this. So hold on, let me bring this up. Let me bring this up. Let me bring this up. Let me bring this up, man.
Jello is kind enough to join us today. He's a Men Urgent Care CEO and emergency medical specialist to give us a little bit of insight, perhaps.
Yeah, Dr. Cardillo, we talked to you about so many different things, and because you're in an ER all the time, you've seen trauma as well as illness. And so in examining that hit on the field and the fact that this player then stood up and then went down, what are you able to tell from that little bit of video?
Certainly, David. Well, what we can tell is that the event was most probably secondary to that hit. There are other episodes where athletes are running, they're exerting themselves, and will have a ventricular arrhythmia secondary to a hypertrophic or enlarged heart. That's different. This was traumatic. And we see that hit happened in that upper chest area.
Right.
And there are a couple of things that could happen under this scenario. The first we think about, obviously, is the spinal cord injury. It doesn't seem like that's what happened here. Because when you have a spinal cord injury that does injure acutely that cervical spine, you don't get back up. You're on the floor and you stay on the floor. He was able to get back up. That leads us to believe this was more of a cardiac injury. When you have a cardiac injury, a couple of things, again, could happen. With a large enough hit to the anterior chest, you can transect the aorta, the large blood vessel coming out of that heart. But when that happens, number one, that's not survivable usually, and you don't stand up after that kind of injury. Even if it was a mild dissection, these are very significant injuries.
Now, like, yo, look at the players' faces, yo. Like, they're, like, legitimately... I mean, like, first of all, this is a packed arena, right? Like, for those of y'all that don't know, like, y'all can clearly see the record right here. Like, the Bills are, like... I mean, this is like what is this? I mean, this is like a AFC showdown right here. AFC, this is a what am I trying to say, man? Like, this is definitely, this is a showdown, you know what I'm saying, for, seeding, you know what I'm saying? Like, these two teams are going to the playoffs, man. It's just a matter of, and, it's a packed arena, 12-3 going up against 11-4, two really good teams, and you don't understand the level of sacrifice that these players have to put out in order to even get to a point like this. Like, there's only with so many roster spots on the NFL team, and you're one of them. You understand? Like, so many people vying for your spot, man, and it's crazy. And he was only 24 years old. He was younger than me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, like my brother's age? Like, it's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, these players, like, his teammates were, like, crying. You know what I mean? Like, they suspended the game, but, like, they had to. Or postponed it, Like, they had to do it. Like, you couldn't have forced these players to go out and play. Like, you just couldn't.
Very common injury. The third thing we're thinking about, it's called the R on T phenomenon. This is a phenomenon that when the heart is going between its beats, as that heart is depolarizing and then repolarizing, if you have traumatic trauma to the chest at a very specific moment, as that heart is repolarizing itself, you can go into a lethal ventricular arrhythmia. And that's what it looks like it happened, because he was able to stand up, and at that point, his heart started what we call fibrillating. That's that cardiac arrest. That's when he collapsed back down, and they would have recognized at that point no pulse. If it had been a cervical injury, you wouldn't expect him to have lost his pulse that soon. Right. Same thing with a transection of the aorta. You may still have a pulse for a very brief moment. At this time, he had no pulse when he hit the ground. That's more of a ventricular arrhythmia that he was having. This is a dysrhythmia that happens after trauma. Now, the mainstay of treatment would have been, number one, protecting his airway, and then defibrillating the patient. We know that we have AEDs, or the automated defibrillators, all around our community. I am certain that they were in that facility. They were also on the ambulance, and we hope that he was defibrillated quickly. And that brings the heart back relatively quickly, because it shocks that dysrhythmia back into a normal heartbeat.
Right.
They would have immediately intubated him and protected his airway, which they did. And if they're able to bring that heart back by defibrillating him at this juncture,
bring the heart back. So you're essentially saying like so because they said they were almost out there for 10 minutes trying to resuscitate him. So like he was unconscious for basically like almost 10 minutes. That's crazy. Like he was like, I mean, you don't want to say it, but I mean, he was, you know what I'm saying? Like he was there. He was at that place. He was in the upper room for almost about 10 minutes. You know, like that's crazy. I mean, I heard they were able to get him back, and then get him on the what is that? You know, to get him on to get him to the hospital, right? For whatever reason, I'm losing like what that truck is, like the ambulance. Like they were able to get him on the ambulance and get him to the hospital, but like it's crazy.
Whether he survives or not, it will be dependent upon how long he was down and how long he was not getting oxygen. And now it sounds like he is in the ICU or in the medical facility, intubated at this time with a heartbeat. That's the information we're hearing right now. That means that he was most likely brought out of that lethal dysrhythmia, and now it's going to be dependent upon how long he was down and how much anoxia his brain would have sustained.
Well, the early reports mentioned that there were 9 minutes of CPR performed. Given the different scenarios that you have given us, what are the survivability rates? And I know it is speculation, it's early, but what is your opinion on that?
Yeah, 9 minutes is kind of a long time.
Yeah.
We're worried about that. About 3 minutes is when you start having brain injury. So 9 minutes is a long time. I think there's a delay, guys. Are you still seeing the delay on your side also?
We do have a delay, but your voice is just right. So we're on point with what you're saying, okay? So, we just caught up. So I think you're good.
Great. Yeah, so the name of the game here is really that 9 to 10 minutes that he was down, and how much injury that brain would have suffered from having the anoxia. We know about 3 minutes is when you start having really significant brain damage. However, he's very young. He's 24. He's a highly conditioned athlete. So he has a lot of reserve. And so it's possible that he will do fine if this is what we're talking. We don't really know the underlying cause yet. It could be a number of things, but the most likely is...
Right. I mean, and also we don't know, like, if there's any underlying heart conditions or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've never seen anyone do that. Like, I've seen some pretty crazy injuries, whether it be football, basketball, even baseball, hockey. You see sports injuries all the time, but like I've never actually seen a player like just flat out collapse. Probably the only time I maybe have ever seen that is in a boxing ring, but that's, you know, kind of obvious. You know what I mean? Like you would see something like that, or like a kickboxing or something like that, but like not on a football field. Like this is the first time I've ever seen that.
Is this arrhythmogenic phenomenon that happens when you have blunt chest trauma as the heart is going through its phases. If that's the case, he would have been shocked, intubated, and now it's a matter of seeing how much damage happened to the brain.
Yeah, that makes complete sense to what we were able to witness and how they were working on him. Dr. Cordello, I can't say it enough. You're always our go-to doctor. You're perfect in this situation. You make a lot of sense to the injury that we just witnessed. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown.
All right, man. Yeah, man, they done said it. They don't put it out there, you know. But yeah, man, prayers up for him, man. Prayers up for him. And I heard Skip Bayless. Well, I saw Skip Bayless. I saw exactly when he said what he said about, like, starting the game because, like, you know, the NFL has no other choice. And it's just like they were getting on his ass. And deservedly so. It's like, bro, that's the second time this, well, not really, well, this is the first time this year. But this is the second time within a matter of weeks that you said some stupid shit, man. You know what I mean? So, like, you gotta be better at reading the room, my nigga. Like, you can't be out here just saying dumb shit. Like, you can't. You said it on air to Shannon when you basically said he was a bum compared to Tom Brady, and he jealous of Tom Brady because he criticized a little something something. And then now you on Twitter with the bullshit about Damar Hamlin. Like, come on, man. At some point, you got to stop the trolling. You know? I'm all for a good troll every now and again, but you want some bullshit, bro. You want some bullshit, man. Crazy, crazy, crazy.